Solving quadratic equations using the zero product property. The zero product property tells us that if the product of two expressions is equal to zero, then at least one of the expressions, or even both of the expressions, are equal to zero. Let's first understand this simple rule. The rule states that if A multiplied by B is equal to 0, then either A is equal to 0, or B is equal to 0, or they are both equal to 0. Let me give you an example. Let A equal 7. So you've got 7 times B equals 0. B must be equal to 0 for this to be true. B cannot be any other number. 7 times 0 is 0. Another example, let B equal minus 3. Then A times minus 3 equals 0. A cannot be any other number but 0 for this to be true. 0 times minus 3 is 0. And of course, if both A and B are equal to 0, then we have 0 times 0 equals 0. Okay, let's use the zero product property now for expressions. So I'm going to replace A and B with expressions. So we'll let A equal x plus 2, B equal x minus 3, and we multiply them together, they will be equal to 0. So if the product of these two expressions is equal to 0, we can use the zero product property. So either x plus 2 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. Let's solve these equations separately. So let's look at x plus 2 equals 0. If you subtract 2 from both sides of the equation, minus 2 and plus 2 will cancel, and you've got x equals minus 2. Now we'll look at x minus 3 equals 0. Let's add 3 to both sides of the equation. Plus 3 and minus 3 will cancel, and we're left with x equals 3. So the solutions to x plus 2 multiply x minus 3 equals 0 are x equals minus 2 and x equals 3. Okay, now we're going to use the zero product property to solve quadratic equations. And we're going to do this using 4 easy steps. Okay, we're going to follow 4 steps. Here's an example. Solve x into x minus 6 equals 16. So, step 1. Move all the non-zero terms to the left side of this equation. So any numbers that are not 0, move them to the left. So we've got 16, so let's subtract 16 from both sides of the equations. So 16 minus 16 will give me 0. So I'm left with x into x minus 6 minus 16 equals 0. Okay, so we've moved all the non-zero terms to the left side. Step 2, distribute any brackets. So we have a bracket to distribute. So let's go x multiplied by x is x squared. X multiplied by minus 6 is minus 6x. Minus 16 is equal to 0. Fine. Now we move on to step 3. Step 3, we need to factor the expression that is on the left, x squared minus 6x minus 16. And you can use any of the methods that you've used so far. You can use the calculator method or any method that you have used so far to factor this expression. So when we factor x squared minus 6x minus 16, we get x minus 8, x plus 2 equals 0. So now we've factored the expression, we can do step 4 and use the zero product property to solve it. So we can say either x minus 8 equals 0 or x plus 2 equals 0. Let's solve them separately. If we add 8 to both sides of this equation, plus 8 minus 8 will cancel, and we're left with x equals 8. Or we can say x plus 2 equals 0. Let's subtract 2 from both sides of the equation. Minus 2 plus 2 will cancel, and we're left with x equals minus 2. So the solution for x into x minus 6 equals 16 is x equals 8 or x equals minus 2. So now we've learnt these steps, we're going to apply them to 3 different examples. So here's the first example. Solve 2w minus 5, 4 minus w equals 0. Okay, step 1. We need to move all the non-zero terms to the left side. Well, this equation is equal to 0, so we do not have any non-zero terms to move. So step 1 is finished. Step 2, are there any brackets to distribute? No, there are no brackets to distribute. So let's go on to step 3. Step 3, the expression is already in a factored form, so we don't need to factor it. So we can move straight on to step 4 and use the zero product property to solve this equation. So the zero product property states that 2w minus 5 is equal to 0 or 4 minus w equals 0. So let's solve these two separately. 2w minus 5 equals 0. Let's add 5 to both sides of the equation. Plus 5 minus 5 will cancel, and we're left with 2w equal 5. Let's now divide both sides of the equation by 2 so that we get w alone. W equals 5 divided by 2. Or we can say 4 minus w equals 0. Add w to both sides of the equation. Plus w minus w will cancel, and we're left with w equals 4. So the solutions to 2w minus 5 multiply 4 minus w equals 0 are w equals 5 over 2 and w equals 4. Okay, example number 2. Let's solve 5u squared plus 15u equals 0 using the zero product property rules. Step 1. Move any non-zero terms to the left. Well, we do not have any non-zero terms because this equation is equal to 0. So step 1, we finished. Step 2, there are no brackets to distribute. So let's go on to step number 3. Step number 3, we need to factor the expression on the left. So let's have a look at 5u squared plus 5u equals 0. The greatest common factor of 5u squared and 15u is 5u. Okay, so let's take out the greatest common factor, and we've got 3u plus 3 remaining. Let's just check this has been factored correctly. 5u multiplied by u gives me 5u squared, and 5u multiplied by 3 gives me 15u. So we know that it has been factored correctly. So we can now move on to step number 4 and use the zero product property to solve this equation. So we can say either 5u equals 0 or u plus 3 is equal to 0. If 5u equals 0, then u must be equal to 0. 5 times 0 is 0. If u plus 3 equals to 0, we need to subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. Minus 3 and plus 3 will cancel, and we're left with u equals minus 3. So the solutions to 5u squared plus 15u equals 0 are u equals 0 and u equals minus 3. All right, final example. Okay, example 3, we're going to solve x into 2x minus 5 equals 12. So, first step, we need to move all the non-zero terms to the left. Now this time we've got 12. 12 is non-zero. So we need to move the 12 to the left-hand side. So let's subtract 12 from both sides of the equation. Minus 12 plus 12 will cancel out, and we're left with x into 2x minus 5 minus 12 is now equal to 0. Now we can move on to step 2 and distribute the brackets. So x times 2x is 2x squared, x times minus 5 is minus 5x, minus 12 is equal to 0. Okay, so distribute the bracket, and then we can move on to step 3 and factor the expression on the left. You can use any method to factor this expression, but when I factor 2x squared minus 5x minus 12, I get 2x minus 3 multiplied x plus 4 equals 0. So my final step is to use the zero product property to solve this equation. So we can say either 2x minus 3 equals 0 or x plus 4 is equal to 0. So let's solve these two separately. So we've got 2x minus 3 equals 0. Let's add 3 to both sides of the equation. So we've now got 2x equals 3, as plus 3 minus 3 cancel. Then we can divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides of the equation by 2, and you're left with x equals 3 over 2. With the other equation, we've got x plus 4 equals 0. So we subtract 4 from both sides of the equation. Minus 4 and plus 4 will cancel. So x is equal to minus 4. So the solutions to x into 2x minus 5 equals 12 are x equals 3 over 2 and x equals minus 4. Thank you very much for watching the video.